Narrator coverage Counsel. Tone in every courtroom across America. The gavel is supposed to symbolize truth, justice, and the rule of law. But what happens when the person wielding that gavel, the very judge who swore an oath to uphold those principles, becomes the one breaking them? This is the story of Judge Alexander Pierce, a man once praised as the pillar of judicial integrity, now remembered as the most disgraced judge in the state's history. Removed from the bench for lying under oath, entangled in an elaborate web of insurance fraud, and ultimately exposed for stolen valor, fabricating a decorated military record to gain power and sympathy. Today, we're pulling back the curtain on a system that let one man's arrogance, deceit, and greed erode public trust in the very institution meant to protect it. The rise of Judge Alexander Pierce. Pierce's career began like something out of a legal drama. A bright, confident law student from the University of Chicago, graduating near the top of his class, clerking for a federal judge, and quickly climbing the ranks in the state judiciary. His early career painted a picture of brilliance, razor-sharp legal reasoning, charisma in the courtroom, and an uncanny ability to turn complex legal issues into digestible judgments. But brilliance, unchecked by humility, breeds arrogance, and arrogance, especially in the judiciary, can become corruption in disguise. By the time Pierce was appointed to the state Superior Court in 2012, he had already earned a reputation as a tough but fair judge. Local media loved him. Colleagues described him as disciplined, authoritative, and patriotic, often mentioning his supposed military service as a decorated Marine officer. It was part of his image. The soldier-turned-judge who believed in law, order, and country. Except, as investigators would later learn, none of that was true. A whisper of doubt. It began with a whisper in 2019. Defense attorney, someone Pierce had openly ridiculed during a civil trial, filed a motion to recuse him, claiming the judge had a personal bias against veterans. The motion cited comments Pierce allegedly made about his combat experience, calling soldiers who filed PTSD-related insurance claims weak. Debt complaint triggered a quiet review by the state's Judicial Oversight Commission. Normally, these inquiries go nowhere. Most are dismissed as frivolous, but this time, the commission stumbled on something odd. Pierce's personnel file listed no verified record of military service. His claimed medals didn't exist in federal archives, and the Department of Defense confirmed it. Judge Alexander Pierce had never served a single day in uniform. The revelation should have ended his career immediately. But instead of resigning, Pierce doubled down. He called the accusations politically motivated, claiming records had been misplaced due to an administrative error, and in a sworn affidavit submitted to the commission, he doubled down under oath, stating, quote, "I served honorably in Afghanistan between 2002 and 2004, under classified circumstances." That single sentence would later form the foundation of the perjury charge that destroyed his career. The insurance fraud connection, while the commission investigated his background. Another scandal was quietly unfolding, one that had nothing to do with the courtroom. Pierce owned several rental properties in the city under an LLC, controlled by his brother-in-law. When one of those properties suffered storm damage in 2020, Pierce filed an insurance claim worth nearly $180,000. But forensic adjusters later discovered the damage was not from a storm at all. It was from years of neglect, leaking pipes, structural decay, and falsified invoices. Even worse, the contractors listed on the claim didn't exist. This was no one-time mistake. What made it even more damning? Several of those claims were processed through an insurance company he'd ruled in favor of just months earlier in a civil trial. A clear conflict of interest and potential quid pro quo. The pattern was undeniable. Pierce used his judicial influence to protect his financial schemes. The moral paradox. Holiday. Here's where the moral rot becomes impossible to ignore. Judges are held to a higher standard, not just legally, but ethically. Under the Model Code of Judicial Conduct, Rule 1.2 states that a judge must act at all times in a manner that promotes public confidence in the independence, integrity, and impartiality of the judiciary. Pierce violated that principle at every turn. He didn't just break the law, he betrayed the idea of justice itself. When a judge lies under oath, it's not just perjury, it The collapse of the moral foundation that gives the legal system its legitimacy. And yet, for years, he was untouchable. The investigation expands. BI 2021, the state's Judicial Conduct Board had opened a full-scale investigation. But the probe was slow, secretive, and politically delicate. Judges investigating judges, like doctors performing surgery on themselves. The system resists self-harm, but then came the breakthrough. An anonymous whistleblower from inside Pierce's chambers leaked internal emails to the press. The messages revealed Pierce coordinating with a local contractor to rebuild storm-damaged property, complete with falsified dates and invoices. Within weeks, the press exploded with headlines. Judge under fire for insurance fraud and false military claims. State Supreme Court launches probe into Superior Court. Judge Alexander Pierce. The illusion of honor crumbled overnight.